terrible, terrified. It shouldn't be happening.
Neighbors in shock tonight after a horrific discovery. The remains, believed to be those of 9-week-old baby Chance Walsh, have been discovered in a remote part of Northport. The discovery was made earlier today. And thanks for choosing Fox 4 News at 10 tonight. I'm Amy Wegman, joined by Patrick Nolan, who's live out in Northport, where the missing baby was found by the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office earlier today. Let's get right on over to Patrick with the latest on this heartbreaking discovery as well as the ongoing investigation. Patrick.
Right at the edge of the woods here where Chance's body was found. You'll notice that it is pitch black. If it weren't for our television light, you wouldn't be able to see. We're going to turn it off here briefly just to give you an idea of the difficult conditions investigators were working with last night as they came out to these woods looking for any sign of him, hoping he might be alive. We're turning our lights back on now to give you a better idea and perhaps illuminate this story that's so hard for the community to understand. How did we get here to this point? Well, first, let's just tell you exactly where we are. We've got a map to show you the exact area. It's Wylam in English. This is a subdivision that never happened. It's got a ghostly effect to it no matter what may have happened here in the past few weeks. The streets are laid out, but there are no homes, there are no people, no businesses, no lights, as we showed you. We can tell you that this is about 12 to 13 miles from where Chance was last seen alive, where he lived with his parents. And we do have pictures of his parents, Joseph Walsh and Kristen Bury. They are considered the prime suspects in this investigation at this point. When he initially was reported disappeared by his grandmother, they reportedly told investigators that they didn't know what happened to him. But investigators didn't buy that. They pushed, they went inside the home, they found what appeared to be bloodstains, and they feared that, in fact, that may have been indications that Chance was seriously hurt or killed. But they ruled nothing out. At one point, investigators even checking out a gator near the home in a canal in Northport just to make sure that his remains somehow may not have been consumed by a wild animal. Today, the sheriff was in these woods where we stand right now, along with investigators. They had been here starting 24 hours ago. Last night at this time, they were in this area looking for any signs, and the sheriff sounding very emotional. He wasn't out here blabbering. There were not tears rolling down his cheeks, but the pause, you could feel the pain as he was asked about what might happen next. Take a listen.
I cannot give out any additional information at this time regarding the death of this child. All I can tell you is that we'll get it resolved.
That Chance was found. Giving you a look now at one of the streets in this ghostly subdivision I described to you before. This is an area of Charlotte County that has not been built up. We're familiar with this in Southwest Florida. The streets are laid sometimes, the signs are put up. Tonight there are some orange cones here and an investigator's car. There's an investigator's car on either end of this deserted road to make sure nobody gets through. But this area is about 6 miles from his grandmother's house. Chance's grandmother was central in this investigation. Remember, it was she who first called investigators and said, something doesn't feel right here. When I asked his parents about where he might be, their stories didn't add up. This is how the public got involved and authorities began searching for her. 4 in Your Corner went to her home just about 6 miles from here earlier tonight. There was a silver Malibu out front. That belonged to one of the investigators involved in the case. In fact, when we knocked on the door, it was an investigator who answered and said, of course, at this point, the grandparents are not going to be able to say anything, but we did speak with her neighbors, and many of them are in shock and so disappointed. The story ends like this.
It's not that they've done anything wrong.
Oh, my
They're
heart
just
goes
like
out for
gotta
them.
be
I
in a
hope
world of hurt. Yeah.
I hope it's,
I mean,
they're given the privacy they need.
well, I'd love to wish that this could somehow end happily, but you know, as soon as you started hearing some of the details from the very beginning, it's just like, it just didn't seem like we've heard those kind of details before, and it never
Never turns out well.
never turns out well.
It has been so difficult for the community to understand why anybody would do this. You hear a number of people saying, I would have taken that child in. Why would somebody let a child suffer and then decide to leave the remains in these woods? We've been following the story at the home where Chance once lived with his parents. Neighbors there have been nervous for weeks, hoping for the best. 4 in Your Corner's Katie Jones live there on Orduna Avenue in Northport with more on that part of the story. Katie?
Patrick, family and community members have been coming up to this memorial all evening, offering their prayers and support. Many of those we talked to tonight are in complete shock over this 10th terrible and senseless tragedy. Overwhelmed with emotion, community members are trying to stomach the death of an innocent baby.
It's sickening.
I have 3 grandchildren, and I'm expecting the 4th one. And it's really shock, and it's really not acceptable.
Heather Ayers was one of several who stopped by the memorial set up outside the home baby Chance shared with his parents.
And I have a 1-year-old son, and this kind of thing hurts. So it would be right to come over here and just kind of show our respect.
Paying their respects for an infant whose life was taken far too soon. Family members stopped by the memorial to put up this sign, but didn't want to speak. Since Chance was reported missing, neighbors wished, hoped, and prayed for a safe return.
I feel very sorry, and we hope till the very last minute that the baby could be found somewhere, somehow.
Now, after a heartbreaking end, neighbors are feeling a little uneasy and worried that these types of tragic events could happen again.
I strongly believe in a neighborhood crime watch, and I hope that this event will make us more aware of what's going on and to prevent such things in future.
Now, the landlord who owns this property stopped by the house this afternoon to do some maintenance work. He also tells me he's in complete shock over this. He says he didn't know the family too well, but always thought they were nice people. He tells me that the sheriff's department has locked him out of this unit while they continue their investigation. Patrick, back to you.
Thank you, Katie. And as you heard one of the neighbors mention, they believe in Neighborhood Crime Watch. Well, we all know that's not going to do any good when the person who's in danger is living with those who might endanger him. And that's what investigators believe happened in this case. This baby may have died at the hands of his own parents, not a stranger, not somebody who broke into that home, someone who was supposed to care for him and entrusted with that sacred duty. It has been a very difficult time for this community, as you might imagine. And there were already plans, I should say, in the works for a vigil to happen this Saturday at Peace Christian Fellowship Church starting at 7:30. The hope was, of course, that they would be praying for a miracle, that somehow Chance might be found alive. So they were planning this before his remains were found in these woods today. That's not going to happen, but they want to go through with this service. They want the community to come together, to share the love, and to frankly share the grief that people are feeling. You're encouraged to bring a candle again. That is happening on Saturday evening. We've got the latest information for you on this fast developing story right now on fox4now.com. We wish we were posting developments that might be more encouraging for so many who had hoped for a different outcome in this case. And we're also hearing from you, and we want to hear from you. You've been posting on our Facebook page, telling us what you think about this case and what you think should happen with his parents. We're going to follow that part of the story later in the newscast and share some of what you're sharing with us. Amy?
All right. Thank you, Patrick. And as Patrick said, it's not too late to join in on this community conversation. Again, some of you posting on our Facebook page your thoughts and prayers for the family, as well as what you think should happen to the people who are found guilty of murdering little baby Chance. Again, we will get to those comments coming up tonight at 10:30. So head on over to our Facebook page now and join in on the conversation. Another major development tonight, our other big story, one of 2 men charged in the murder of a beloved Bonita Springs doctor appearing for the first time in front of a Lee County judge today. Curtis Wayne Wright is being held without bond after being extradited to Lee County from Jefferson County, Missouri. Wright was dressed in a green suicide jacket. You can see it there. His hands are cuffed behind his back. You can see a jail employee holding the phone to his ear as he went before a judge this morning. His next court appearance is set for November 16th. Of course, we will be there. Wright is one of 2 men charged in the death of Dr. Teresa Sievers. She was found dead in her own home at the end of June. Wright's alleged accomplice, Jimmy Rogers, remains in Missouri in jail. He's serving a 6-month sentence for a probation violation in an unrelated case. He will be extradited back to Lee County after he serves that time. And a check of your weather now. Another quiet and sunny day across Southwest Florida. We're giving you a look at some time-lapse video. This is from the Charlotte Harbor Event and Conference Center in Port Charlotte. Looks absolutely gorgeous out there. Doesn't get much better than that. Storm Patrol's Tony Sadiku is in for Jim tonight. He's got your forecast first on Fox.
Hey, Amy, absolutely. Finally some good news, right? A benign pattern for us, especially today. Plenty of sunshine. That's the story. As we take a look at the big picture, water vapor shows the dry air pretty much in the central part of the state, but there's the bad news. It's retreating to the north, and it's allowing some tropical moisture to build into our zones, and that's why we did manage to squeeze out a few showers, even a good thunderstorm out there earlier today, mainly in southern parts of Collier County. Still a few showers out there, though, as you can see, these are weakening some as they make their way back out towards the west. I think Naples will stay dry through this. Port of the Island still dealing with it, though, and we should remain dry overnight. Quick look at those temperatures finally dipping out of the 80s for many folks. Still 80 in Cape Coral, 81 the hot spot. Naples, but it's still feeling like the 80s for many locations, even stretching out towards LaBelle and Clewiston. As we look at our overnight forecast, we'll check for those lows to fall all the way down to the lower 70s. 73 the official low, partly cloudy, mild and muggy. Coming up, though, I've got some good news for your finally Friday forecast. I know that's good news in itself. Tracking another front on the way, and of course, we'll have your full weekend outlook in just a few minutes, Amy.
All right, thanks, Tony. And coming up next at 10, you think you're safe behind the gates, but not always. We're going to show you how some burglars are picking their targets inside gated communities. Plus, over-the-counter concern, the common medication one mom gave to her 8-year-old, and the severe reaction that she wants to warn you about. Plus,
would you all like to say anything?
4 in your corner, questioning the parents of a Cape Coral man arrested on child pornography charges. Hear what they have to say next on Fox 4 News at 10.